Okay. Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Hi. We are missing a few people, but we have quorum, so it is 4 o'clock, so we'll get started. I'll call meeting to order with the land acknowledgement. The Ganaraska Region Conservation Authority respectfully acknowledges that the land on which we gather is situated within the traditional and treaty territory of the Mississaugas and Chippewas of the Anishinaabe, known today as the Williams Treaties First Nations. Our work on these lands acknowledges their resilience and their longstanding contribution to the area. We are thankful for the opportunity to live, learn, and share with mutual respect and appreciation. Next, I'll ask for disclosure of pecuniary interest. None was received, and I'm seeing none. And then we're moving on to the minutes of the last meeting. They are attached.
So moved, Madam Chair.
Moved by Randy, seconded by Mark. Any questions, comments? By Joan?
I was just wondering if there was any update on the amalgamation with the through the province, or will that come up at a later time in the meeting?
Yeah, there is an update. Linda and I did attend a virtual meeting, and we're going to discuss that later on in the agenda with the staff.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Comments? I'll ask all in favor for the minutes, and that is carried. Next is the adoption of the agenda. Anyone wanna do that? Margaret, and seconded by Tracy. Questions about or comments about the agenda? Okay, calling all in favor. That is carried. Business arising from the minutes. We have none. Delegations, none. Presentations, none. Correspondence, none. Next is applications under Ontario Regulation 4124 and Conservation Authorities Act, permits approved by the executive, and that is attached. Standards, any mover or seconder for the permits? Moved by Joan, seconded by Mark. Any questions or comments about the permits? Adam, did you have your hand up?
No.
Okay, I'll ask all in favor. That is carried. Next is the committee reports. Ganaraska Forest Recreation User Committee minutes. And there wasn't. So we're going to receive this for information, and Lance is not here either to maybe speak about this. So I'll ask for a mover and a seconder.
Sure.
Randy and Joan. We don't really have much to talk about.
No.
Did anybody have any questions or comments? Oh, Joan does have. Okay.
Well, it's really more of a comment when I looked at the quorum. I don't know why it wouldn't be 50 plus 1, because that's exactly what you need, because there's not a half a person floating around, but that was my only comment.
Through you, Madam Chair. So the chair on this committee is not counted because they're not representing a user. So they're not counted, and neither is the board of directors rep is not counted. They're the ex officio. So because I actually looked at the same and went, okay, why isn't this a quorum? But then I realized that the chair is not counted, nor is Lance as a GRCA board rep.
Okay.
Great, so that makes sense. Okay, well, those are virtual meetings, right?
Yes.
So thankfully, no one showed up.
Well, some people do show up in person.
They do, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll ask all in favor to receive. That's carried. And next is under new business, the 2026 financial budget. I'll just ask, I guess, for a mover and a seconder to open it up for discussion. Margaret and Tracy. So before I open up for more discussion, I just want to say that again, this is the most enjoyable budget I ever read. I think it's just so well done. So congratulations on at least the readability of it, and the content as well is great. So I will open up for discussion, questions, any comments?
Madam Chair, just really not a lot of changes from the preliminary budget, with the exception of the timber tenders did come in last Wednesday, which is generally why we delay the budget. And they did come in approximately $80,000 over what we had originally anticipated, and that money will probably go in towards the auxiliary building, the excess funds, just given consolidation and everything that's happening. Just a note too, that I will say, through you, Madam Chair, that our next meeting is in June. And in June, I will be bringing forward the 2027 budget guidelines.
Oh.
That we will be preparing the budget over the budget, I guess, not even, I don't know if it'll come in as preliminary, to present in September so that it can go out, so that the vote can then happen possibly in October. Just everything's being accelerated due to, or it might go into November. This board will still be in place until February of 2027. No matter what happens, it will be in place with the same members February 2027. So we may, because of the 30 days, because the Conservation Authorities Act will still be in place, so it may have to happen in November of 2026. But just to let you know that that is the anticipated new schedule.
Great. And I see Joan first.
Oh, hi. I just had a couple of questions. Page 11 has to do with the grants, and I see that it is down, oh, where is it? Oh, forget about that question. My eyes didn't cover it. Page 20, I'll switch to page 20. And that was the tree program, and it's, I'm just going to get it here. It was considerably less, I thought. Are there any thoughts on that one?
The tree.
It's page 20 of the budget.
That's the Durham Collaborative Tree Program. So that is a program through the region of Durham that's winding down.
Okay.
Last year it was higher, and then they're winding it down.
Okay,
It
good.
was,
Thank you.
a finite time frame.
Good, thank you. And Randy?
Yeah, I had a couple, and while we're on the same page,
Yeah.
through you, Madam Chair, on page 20, the other grants I see are also down. I wonder if you might have a comment there.
Yeah, that again, that is through some of the grants through the tree program that we weren't just getting it from the region of Durham. Some were all coming from Trees Ontario, etc. So because that program is winding down, the grants are down.
Good, that explains that. If I may go to page 14. I just didn't understand why North Bay Matawa
Oh,
was there.
well, because they, we very often partner with other CAs.
Yes.
They would like our expertise on things, so they reached out to our GIS department and said, can you help us? And our GIS department looked at their schedules and said, yes, so they are hiring our staff to help them. We have, as I've said in the past, some of the top staff in the province of Ontario, and other CAs know it.
So our reputation is out there.
It's
for
out
sure.
there, yeah.
Well, that's wonderful, positive news, very, very much so, thank you. I believe I had just one more. Yes, on page 18, under other revenue, on the first budget there, under revenues, it's down considerably, as you can see, from 104 to 6,000. I wonder if you might have a comment there, please.
Environmental, let me just look at.
Page 18.
Yeah, no, I'm just looking at, so the other revenues are going to be from 2026, so we probably got in under watershed ecology, let's see, other revenues would be, Randy, I may have to get back to you on that, because it's gonna be a project that, we just.
Either happened last year or
Yeah,
not
and
happening
that's
again
not
this year.
happening
Okay.
this year.
That's,
Oh, you know what it, no, it's not, have a asset replacement. But it could be in development. Something happened, in other revenues, so you can see our whole project. Category is down, so the
Yes.
revenues are down 100,000,
Yep.
so are the expenses.
yeah,
So I'm thinking it's in, development plan review that we had some expenses come in. And we had other revenues paid for those expenses. And, then we just didn't, have it this year.
Good.
So they were planned.
thank you. That's all the notes that I had. Thank you.
Okay, great. Any other questions about the budget? Miriam?
I had sent some questions earlier, and I guess the only one really that I think might be topical. And so thank you, Linda.
Yeah.
There were questions of clarification on just some definitions and so forth. And I had asked for perhaps update on the status of the floodplain mapping in Coburg, and then also the AI
Geo.
project, which
Yeah.
was really interesting. But my main question at this time is fuel costs.
Fuel costs.
Yeah, and I don't think we could see that coming,
No,
but it's can be maybe significant for quite a while. Any thoughts on that? Is it sort of, we can incorporate it?
yeah, we will just incorporate it into the expenses that we have. I mean, our fuel costs, it's not that we're doing as many site visits. We still do travel between, CAs and, doing grass cutting, et cetera, but we're not on the roads like we ever used to be. So, and I realize, gas is actually down a little bit today, like
Mhm.
160, but, we're not anticipating. I did go to, accounting and say, are we really concerned? But we feel that we've got enough in other expense areas that we can cover it off. So good. And we have moved to smaller vehicles too. Like we changed from an Impala into a Trax.
I was thinking also heating of the buildings.
Oh,
that sort of
yeah,
thing, but that's next,
that's,
in
yeah.
a few months, yeah.
Great questions. Any other questions, comments? Okay, I'm seeing none, so I'll ask all in favor of the budget. Sorry, Tracy, did you have your hand up for another comment?
Well, more of a comment, like I did have a couple questions that were just answered, so thank you for that. And, we're just looking at any significant changes. Actually, just an overview saying how well the flow of the whole book was presented was really well done.
Thank you. Okay, and I did see all the hands go up in favor, so I want to ask that again. So that is carried. Next is a staff report for the appointment of the transition committee representatives. Did you want to speak about that?
I certainly can. I mean, through you, Madam Chair. As you heard, as reported in March, as we're moving forward with these transitions, each predecessor CA, so within the Eastern Lake Ontario Regional Conservation Authority, the 7 conservation authorities will be appointing representatives from their conservation authorities. Identified for the most part will be the CAO and a municipal elected representative from the board of directors. They are giving 90 days to appoint these, and I believe that takes us to the end of June. We're hoping that maybe things can move forward a little bit quickly, or quicker, in that they're aiming for February 1st. Now, when we get into the next report, you'll hear that they've said February 1st or at a date that is later. But being proactive, and we don't have a May meeting, that we thought we might as well just move forward and name our transition committee. I know the Lower Trent has named theirs and some of the other CAs are starting to get on board and name theirs. So that is why we brought this forward, because we figured once the transition committee, if they all get in place, maybe we can accelerate the timetable a little bit. So that's the reason for the report coming forward.
Okay, so I'll open it up, ask for a mover and a seconder first for the report. Mark and Adam. Any questions or comments, any thoughts on this or added information you would like? Or someone else interested, by all means, make yourself known. So Mark first and then we'll go on to.
I was just going to say good luck.
Yeah. Joan?
When I was reading this program here that we're going to be getting into, I was trying to think of what Ganaraska is going to look like. Is the building still going to be there, but it's going to be managed differently? I was just trying to wrap my head around it. I know I was reading through the report, and can you give any insight on that?
Yeah, so we're still just gonna get there. So we still have the next one, which is the update on the consolidations. That's coming next after the transition, so we'll talk.
Sorry,
But,
I jumped ahead.
We'll answer that question. So this here, hi Lance, thanks for joining us. So this one here is specifically the transition committee, which I guess kind of goes with your question. It is making sure that the representation for our watershed will be represented through the transition process. And every watershed will have their representation. So that's what this is about, the transition committee. Miriam.
Just a
Thank
question.
Sorry.
Just a question that comes to mind is how will the transition committee communicate with the rest of the board, or is that part of the process? That if we don't have regular meetings, or do you anticipate there will be need for communication?
So Linda can add to this, still the many unknown questions. The transition committee is expected to be in place until the end of 2027, I believe they said, or potentially longer. Like, we don't know how long this process will take. So this board may not be sitting that whole time, right? So still a lot of unanswered questions, but I mean, as long as this board is sitting and we have information, by all means, we would share that.
So that raises another point, is that perhaps the contributing, wow, this is very complicated. The contributing municipalities or the member municipalities, that might be the communication point because of all these changes. So just a point.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if you.
I know everything is ambiguous right now. That's just the name of the game. So, Randy?
Just a quick comment. I noticed that it has to be an elected person, which is fine because you're chair and you're elected. But there are CAs, I imagine, that the chair is not an elected individual, so it might not necessarily be the chair of certain regions because that individual is not an elected, right?
In most cases, I'm gonna think probably 100% they are.
Oh, okay, fine.
Yeah. I know that the act currently says 70% of the board has to be elected, but I think in most cases the chairs are elected, and it doesn't have to be a chair. In some cases, it may not be the chair because the chair is not, they're too busy, they're not interested, or for whatever reason.
Okay, so any other questions or comments, or if not, I'll ask if someone wants to, I guess we did get a mover and seconder, that the directors appoint myself and Linda as the Ganaraska Region Conservation Authority representatives to the transition committee. So I'll ask all in favor. And that is carried. So now it's time for Joan's questions. So moving on, update on consolidation of conservation authorities. So the staff report was attached. Did you want to speak to it? Oh, I'll get a mover and a seconder first for this. Moved by Joan, seconded by Lance. And I'll pass it over to Linda to provide an update.
Sure, thank you, Madam Chair. Through you. So as the staff report reads, there was a virtual information session that was held on April 9th. And I have attached the slide deck that went along with that to the meeting. There wasn't a lot of new information. What this information session did allow for, though, prior to, was for conservation authorities to submit questions. So we could submit questions on anything. So, for example, there were questions that were submitted on the project executive. So what is that person going to look like? Who's going to be looking at that? And the answers to that was the project executive, which will serve as CAO for the first 24 months, will have a conservation authority working knowledge. They will be financially responsible. They will have leadership skills, but it was not defined beyond that. Hassan Bissat, which is the Chief Conservation Executive, appointed by MECP to head up the consolidation, did say, for the most part, he's going to try to appoint people from the CA world, is what the words he chose. So I'm not sure what that means. I was at a meeting on, that was Thursday. I was at a meeting Friday in Kingston, and then another virtual meeting through Conservation Ontario on Monday. There was lots of speculation on what the CA world means. It doesn't necessarily mean that they will come directly from a conservation authority. He did also further, I think I put some in this, but there was a question on bank accounts. So he did also say during that meeting that in our case, that where we have 7 conservation authorities, there would be 7 bank accounts remaining intact, or in place. He didn't say intact. That those would remain. The ownership of those bank accounts, I can't answer what that will look like, because my understanding is after February 1st, now they did say the date is February 1st or later. So that's the first time they've qualified that to indicate they may not meet that deadline. So that those bank accounts would remain in place, and I'm thinking that the legal name will become the Eastern Lake Ontario Regional Conservation Authority. So I would think those bank accounts the legal names would have to change, but the one, for instance, the one that is in the Bank of Montreal in Port Hope is the one that's associated with this watershed district, because the watershed boundaries, they have said, will remain in place. Those will all remain in place. And the fact that I've already addressed with the budgets, so they want the budgets completed they said by December, and we're going to be aiming either for October, at the very latest November, because he also, there was a question about the boards, because with the election, but the boards still carry on. I think, as we're all aware, the Conservation Authorities Act calls for the board of directors to remain in place from one annual meeting to the next. And normally our next annual meeting would be in February. If the February 1st deadline is not a managed deadline, that the transition does not take place then, I imagine there will have to be some extension, because there will be no new appointments from the municipalities to the board of directors. The board of directors, as we know, moving forward for Alorca, Eastern Lake Ontario Regional CA, will be made up of the upper tier and the single tier municipalities. Within our region, there are 16. It's also going to be based on what they've said is population, similar to what the Conservation Authorities Act is now. The Conservation Authorities Act says a municipality with under 10,000 gets one representative, then 10,000 to I believe it's 50,000 or whatever gets more representatives. So they're going to base it on some formula of population, but the minimum number that will be on the board will be 16 because that's the number of excuse me, municipalities in or upper tier and single municipalities. Yep, absolutely.
A question on definition of municipality.
Upper tier. I misspoke when I said municipality.
Okay, so would you like me to wait till you finish your presentation?
No, because I don't know what I'm necessarily going to say next because
On the slide deck, because you
Yes.
mentioned
what
upper
page?
tier, okay, so on page 32. Under definition of municipality, 21.1.1, which is the second from the bottom band.
Yes.
There is mention in the slide deck about upper tier and single tier.
Yes.
However, I know Coburg is neither. It's a lower tier.
Right, so
Does this mean a proposed CAA amendments that they're looking at further defining municipality?
no, so upper tier will be any like Northumberland County.
Yes.
So they
Yes,
were
yes.
the upper tier.
Yeah.
Single tier, City of Kawartha Lakes is a single tier. So they'll have a representative because they don't have an upper tier. And I don't know if I'm answering your question.
Yeah, you are, because there is no single tier in Northumberland County.
No,
Right.
No.
absolutely not. No, City of Kawartha Lakes. So within our boundaries, we have the region of Durham, we have City of Kawartha Lakes, we have County of Peterborough, and we have Northumberland County. And then there are some other those single tiers. City of Kingston. I'm not sure if it's part of Frontenac. And the populations like the region of Durham, one of our colleagues did a really rough formula. Like the region of Durham has approximately 42,000 people. I'm just rounding off numbers. Northumberland County has 89,000. City of Kingston has 132, or that could be Frontenac. But so there's different levels. That's where those populations. So that's where I'm saying Northumberland County will have minimum of one person to represent all of the lower tier. So all of our lower tier, then, Brighton and all of everybody within Northumberland County.
Problematic.
Yeah,
And I see Tracy has her hand up, but I just want to clarify as well, one moment, Tracy, that I don't think they've defined whether that representative has to be elected on
Right.
county council or could be a
Yeah.
staff member of county. So that I don't think has been defined yet.
it could be any, I don't know that it can be a staff, but what they're saying is they're going to remove the 70%. Right now, the Conservation Authorities Act says 70% have to be elected. They're going to remove that 70%, so they don't necessarily have to be elected. They can be appointed. And also remember though, besides this board of elected or not elected, there's going to be what they call watershed councils. There's going to be at least one watershed council. There may be more because we're a bigger region. That will be made up of stakeholders and people from the community and different cultures. So that will also be another guiding body that will set priorities for the region.
Okay, thank you for that. Tracy.
Thank you, and through you, Chair. And I was just going to say, Linda, you nailed it. I mean, it's really convoluted, and I know I've read through it numerous times, and I also sit on Kawartha Conservation, and just the way you explained how positions are going to be sitting, and you're going to have provincial appointees. There's just a lot of balls in the air still. Another question that comes to my mind when I'm listening is, has there been any discussion about how any of our local service agreements will be impacted?
Through you, Madam Chair, all of the service agreements, any agreements, any contracts, any assets, any liabilities, any obligations from the existing CAs will remain in place and will be honored. So if there are agreements for different services that we've got with different municipalities or organizations, those will be honored.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I wasn't 100% sure when I was going through that, so thanks for that clarification. And do you or staff see any gaps or risks when delivering some of these core services moving forward?
That's through you. That's very difficult to say because I don't know. I don't know the makeup of who will how they will be delivered, if they're going to be delivered in the same manner by the same staff, or if there's going to be, it's very difficult for me to answer that question.
And that's fair. It's just those are those running questions that when you're reading through things, you know, you're trying to connect the dots. So I appreciate that answer as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions from anybody? Mark?
I was talking to Linda earlier, and thank you, Linda, for having me in. I was a better part of an hour, I guess, going over this. My one question that still remains is source water protection and what's going to happen there. I mean, it's very important to our municipalities and just whom's going to run it now that perhaps Mr. Hunt is not going to be in charge. And maybe, Linda, do you want to just speak on this a little bit and maybe give us some idea to whether we should maybe be supporting him as in his role as chair or as an appointee still, since for some reason they've elected not to appoint him.
Absolutely. Thank you through you, Madam Chair. So source protection areas are still going to remain. It is one of the areas they still have to pursue. They have not opened up the Clean Water Act. What they have done is they have reached out to several chairs and told them that they will not be reappointed. I did get some clarification. So the appointments were up last July, and Jim was still acting, carrying forward until, sorry, the question was put forward, are you reappointing? And then the province came back and said, no, to certain chairs, no, they were not reappointed. Within our area, we've got our own source water protection, which is the five of us. Then Quinty has one. They don't have a chair. Their chair had resigned, so currently they don't have a chair. I don't know if Ganaraska's source protection chair was reappointed. So in the meantime, Lower Trent as lead, so they are the lead of the Trent Conservation Coalition, has this week reached out and written a letter asking that they would, could Jim Hunt be reappointed. I spoke with the lead today to say, would it do any good for Ganaraska as part of Trent Coalition? She asked politely that they leave it with the lead, and the lead moved that forward. So the letter has been written, it's been sent. I still believe source protection is important to the province, and I believe that it will be addressed. It just hasn't been addressed. It's one of the areas, I'm sure it won't be the only area that it was, oh yes, we will look at it. They just haven't. There's still a lot of unanswered questions. I hope that helps, Mark, answering your question.
Okay, thank you, Linda.
If I may, related question. The province is also, if I understand correctly, enacted or will be enacting legislation to privatize water. Is that, am I saying that wrong? Like, basically, if you are providing water, so how it's connected to source water protection, if you have a well, or if you are a municipality with a water system, the province, as I understand it, please correct me if I'm wrong, is changing the legislation to allow private investment. So this has really kind of thrown me, but I don't know if I, is it, can it be related? Or do we need to keep an eye out for this?
I am not aware of that. I know that they have not looked at the Clean Water Act, that they are going to be looking at the Clean Water Act. That's as far as we know. I'm not aware of what you're.
Okay,
They did address on Thursday that they have to look at the Clean Water Act.
okay.
Okay, any other questions or thoughts or anything anybody wants to share? Okay, oh, Randy.
Sorry, perhaps just on that point, Miriam, Mayor Cleveland and myself are attending the Great Lakes St. Lawrence Cities Initiative coming up in Hamilton for 3 days, May 5th to the 8th. There may be some information come out at that, at which point I will collect and report to this organization if there's something specifically that centers around what you just brought up.
Through you, Madam Chair, to further on page 20 of the slides. It does address the Clean Water Act and source as much as it addresses it.
Yeah.
And it says that it's recognized that changes may be needed under the Clean Water Act and associated regulations to function in alignment with the changes to conservation authorities' names and boundaries, and to clarify how source protection authorities would operate under the regional CA structure. So and it does say that if there are specific questions, we can submit them to source protection at ontario.ca. And I'm suggesting that if we had specific, that we would submit them through Lower Trent into this as the lead. So there's certainly an opportunity, but I think there's still some questions Ontario has to answer before they can answer our questions. I think they have to answer them for themselves.
So lots of information forthcoming, and I guess as we get it from our different committees or conventions or whatever we attend, we'll be bringing that back.
The slides, are they something that can be shared?
Or some concern. Yes. They're on the agenda. I didn't put them on the public agenda, but I did put them on with your agenda package. We haven't been told anything otherwise, so
Government of Ontario.
Yeah. Doesn't say confidential. So, and I can also get you the previous ones, but I mean they're more of a repeat. These, yeah.
Okay, so I'll speak with Randy and maybe we'll talk to our clerk.
I see. Mark, did you have another?
Yeah. I'm glad Miriam brought that up. Can we have that as part of our minutes then, Linda? Because I'd like to keep our council informed on what's going on, and those slides help immensely.
Yeah, absolutely. We can put them in as part of the minutes, and we will definitely make sure that they're part of the minutes.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, that's a good point. Okay, so I will ask then at this point with the information that we have to receive this. So all in favor? That is carried. Thank you. And we don't have any new business, other business, and no one for question periods. So we don't have any cameras. So just a reminder that there is not a meeting next month unless we call one, and probably that won't be happening. So then June will be our next meeting. Okay, so here I will adjourn the meeting.
No, we need something to adjourn.
Yes, and I was gonna ask if I have a mover for that. No one wants to, oh, there you go, Margaret, thank you. All right, so everybody have a great evening and enjoy the rest of your month.
And happy Earth Week.
Yeah,
Happy
happy
Earth
Earth
Week,
Week,
yes,
yeah.
thank you for that reminder.
All the best, everyone.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Bye. Adam, when is your, cleanup?
Something?